Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, June 13th, 2025. And the Rec Committee ponders a new event center options by Ken Waddell. It was titled a multi-facility site selection discussion, and about 80 people came out to Neepawa's Yellowhead Center to ponder the future of a regional recreation facility for Neepawa and area. A committee headed up by YHC President Wayne Jacobson has been meeting for several months to ponder possible sites for a recreation facility to replace the YHC. In addition to Jacobson, the committee consists of Mayor Brian Headley of the town of Neepawa, Jeff Cook of the Neepawa Curling Club, Kevin Paramore, Reeve of the RM of Glenella, Lansdowne, Candace Newton, representing the YHC board, Kevin Lewandowski of Neepawa Golf and Country Club, Jaron Davidson, councillor of the RM of North Cypress Langford, and Jeff Henderson, councillor of the RM of Rosedale. Before considering the future, the meeting was reminded about a bit of the YHC history. Jacobson said, the arena was built in 1972. The hall was built over 70 years ago. Editor's note, the hall was originally the warehouse for the Canadian Salt Company and was converted to a community hall in 1971-72. The waiting room area was the actual salt plant area and was cut down to height to see what it is today, a lobby, concession, and dressing rooms. The arena was built new in 1971-72. At the outset, Jacobson said, "We won't answer any questions about costs because we have no idea. But we do know by looking at other community arena costs, such as Minnedosa, Verdon, and Niverville, that the longer we wait, the higher the costs will be." Jacobson led the meeting through a discussion of 4 possible sites for a new complex. The group offered up many questions and suggestions about each site. At the end of the meeting, attendees were asked to put colored stickers on large sheets of paper at the back of the hall, indicating their preferred choice. People attending the meeting lingered for a long time after the meeting, discussing pros and cons of each site. One attendee said he would prefer a 5th site be considered, basically immediately south of the golf course clubhouse. And an editor's note, an expanded story on the meeting will appear in the June 20th edition of the Banner and Press, and the meeting will also be broadcast on NACTV. And the 4 sites proposed, the first site is south of Highway 16 on Dominion Road. The second site is west of the Curling Club. The third site is northwest of town in the Project 320 area. And the 4th site was along the number 16, north of 16 and south of the golf club. And Neepawa to take control of Stony Creek School by Owen Devereaux. The future of Stony Creek School number 133 appears to be in good hands, thanks to the latest actions from the town of Neepawa. Council members voted unanimously on Tuesday, June 3rd, for the town to officially take over the upkeep of the historic building from the Neepawa Lions Club. The formal handover will take place at the end of June. In a letter received from the Lions Club, Neepawa CAO Colleen Sanchishan shared that the service organization could no longer maintain the building due to low local membership. I think we all agree that the school is a valuable historical asset for the community and part of Neepawa's heritage. So it makes sense to have the conversation and the discussion on if it would be in the best interest to turn the school over to the town of Neepawa And of course, we responded to the Lions that it was, said Sinchishon. Council member Jason Nadeau shared his perspective on the decision, stating, "Stony Creek is a part of our town's heritage. It's been at Lions Park for many years, so it is something that the Lions would love to see continue on." Stony Creek School was established in 1881 and closed in 1950, being formally consolidated into Neepawa School number 126 in January 1967. The school building was moved to Neepawa in 1964, where it is displayed at the Lions Riverbend Park. A stone monument remains at its former site in the rural municipality of Langford. And there is a picture of the church, a school right there. And St. Rose de Lac RCMP respond to firearm incident. St. Rose de Lac RCMP recently responded to a report of a person pointing a firearm inside a residence on 4th Avenue in McCreary. A press release by the RCMP noted officers responded to the call on June 5th at approximately 2:45 a.m. The report notes after officers arrived on the scene, the homeowner alerted them that a female suspect, who was known to them, assaulted her and her 2 children inside the home and threatened them with a firearm. Police say the 30-year-old female victim and her children fled to their neighbors to call police. Police, the St. Rose de Lac RCMP, the Manitoba RCMP Dog Services, and a remotely piloted aircraft system began a search for the suspect. The report indicates that the officers were able to quickly locate the suspect outside a residence on Broderick Avenue via the drone, but the firearm was not located. Officers and PDS Marouk say they were able to arrest the suspect without incident. 38-year-old Lacey Campbell of McCreary was remanded until a court appearance and charged with 2 counts of pointing a firearm, 3 counts of assault, failing to comply with an undertaking, possession of a weapon for dangerous purposes, and 3 counts of uttering threats against a person. St. Rose de Lac RCMP will continue to investigate the incident and noted there were no serious physical injuries to anyone inside the residence. And lawn care crackdown planned for around Neepawa. The town is sending out letters to property owners about negligent lawn keep-up, by Owen Devereaux. Almost every street seems to have that one neighbor who can't be bothered to mow and maintain the lawn on their property. If you don't know who it is on your block, then it's probably you, and that's a bit of a problem. Over the next few weeks, the town of Neepawa will look to solve that problem by sending out letters to property owners related to unkept lawns. CAO Colleen Sinchishon shared recently that the town had received a letter from a citizen expressing concerns on a few locations. She said they will be contacting the owners of a few properties where the issue is extremely noticeable. We need to pay attention to grass and cleanup, dandelions and all those things. Rest assured for everyone, we've done a massive sweep through town and there will be a lot of letters of warning going out in the near future for people to cut their lawns, manage their weeds, and clean up their properties. It should be noted that letters will not arrive at your doorstep if you miss a few days or a day here and there. This is for the worst examples of poor care that have popped up in the community. Councillor Gerald Gerard noted that the problem continues to arise. The town of Neepawa does have options for solving it. There are fines that could be levied, and we have done in the past a cleanup of the property to meet standards if property owners do not do it themselves. That cost is put on taxes, so if the town does follow through on that. All citizens are asked to have some pride in their community, and when possible, care for their lawns as best they can. Oh, the page is stuck. There we go. And right in the center by Ken Waddell, rethinking the whole process. There is an apparent shortage of driving instructors in Manitoba. According to reports, MPI offers a summer program that allows students who are at least 15 and a half years old to complete the 35-hour classroom and 8-hour in-car requirements in 5 weeks by attending daily classes. Some schools offer a driver's ed program during the school year, and there are also private driving schools. All those programs put together don't fill the need or demand for driver training. I must question why a potential driver would need 35 hours in the classroom. One would think that a thorough review of a study book or an online instruction session would be a better use of instructors' and students' time than 35 hours in the classroom. Certainly, everybody needs some study and practical experience, but there has to be a better way. I know younger people will find it amusing, but when I got my driver's license 60 years ago, it was a matter of going to the municipal office and putting $5 on the counter and signing up for a license with the RM Secretary-Treasurer. I vaguely remember being asked a few questions, but being a farm boy, I'd been driving the tractor since I was 10 or younger, and the truck in the field since I was 12. No driver instructor could have put a greater level of fear in me than my father when he yelled at me about making mistakes. Just as an added fear factor, the cars or trucks of that era mostly had standard transmissions, something most drivers today have no idea how to handle. Obviously, many fewer kids today than those from the 60 years ago have access to wide open fields, tractors, and pickup trucks. Admittedly, the top speed on the 1960s half-ton tracks was limited to about 70 miles per hour, and the tractors might do 15 miles per hour. That alone reduced some of the risk. Nevertheless, there has to be a more efficient way to do driver training than the process that is currently happening. A short while ago, I wrote a column about MPI, AutoPack, and the huge amount of money they spent on a computerized customer tracking and policy renewal system. I was highly critical of the management at MPI and was taken to task by an MPI spokesperson. They requested I call and discuss the column with them, and I tend to do so. I plan to share the results of that call with the readers. I have a thought about AutoPack and wonder how much wildlife, usually deer-hitting vehicles, costs AutoPack each year. We had one of our vans out of commission for almost 6 months because a deer decided to cross in front of one of our drivers. My wife and I had a bit of a close call with 2 deer just last week. It was the same van, ironically. I wonder how large the white-tailed deer population is in Manitoba compared to years gone by. Are there more vehicle deer collisions than other years? Perhaps it's time to expand deer hunting in Manitoba. I understand that deer stay in a relatively small area. Can AutoPack track the high wildlife collision areas? If that is so, perhaps there should be a bounty on deer in high collision areas. Then, perhaps all that good meat could be donated to food banks. I have said many times that with all the deer in Manitoba, it's time for a cull. Reduce our insurance risks and rates, all the while benefiting the food banks. I believe there are still a lot of cull slaughter sows that are shipped to the United States. Perhaps some of those sows could be slaughtered in Manitoba, as it's well known by hunters and farmers that deer meat and sow meat make a great food combination, and there's more help for the food banks. I know it's a long way from driver training to making deer sausage, but it ties together. Fewer deer means fewer accidents, lower premiums, and risk for young drivers, more meat for the food banks. It's a win-win all around. I doubt bureaucracy, be it AutoPack or government, can get their heads around this idea, but it would make sense in my opinion. And there's a disclaimer that the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the newspaper staff. And we move on to Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. More than you wanted to know. Thank you to the readers who have asked me all about the Isle of Iona. It is challenging to articulate the power and awe held by that tiny island. Geographically, it is a part of the Inner Hebrides, 20 minutes away from the Isle of Mull, 1.5 miles wide and 3 miles long, a year-round population under 150 residents. It is known as a tourist destination and spiritual retreat center. In speaking with local citizens, they define tourists as a necessary evil, knowing that many rely on them for their livelihood. If you Google travel time, it states a very realistic 1 day and 22 hours. My pilgrimage began with meeting my friend from Victoria in Calgary, flying to Amsterdam, hopping over to Glasgow, taking a train to Oban on the tip of Scotland. It is strongly advised to book a night's stay there, for travel fatigue is real, and just because you're close to Iona, it doesn't mean you're there. We caught an early morning ferry, a 50-minute crossing to the Isle of Mull, where we caught a bus taking us to the next ferry. The 2-decker bus travels down a single-track road with adequate turnouts for oncoming traffic and places for a vehicle to move over and let others pass. It really is quite the experience, looking down and noting the 4 inches of clearance as we meet a vehicle any size and watching the driver negotiate the turn for a narrow bridge. Literally lining up to the drive across and then seeing the sign, "Weak Bridge." 1 more short ferry ride and then a walk up the hill. The abbey was built by St. Columba in 563. It has been rebuilt more than once, the last time in 1938 by George MacLeod, a minister in Glasgow, who saw the unemployment of tradespeople and the despair of poverty and became the work on the abbey, building a community as well. The aisle and the abbey are seen as birthplace of Celtic Christianity and functions today as an ecumenical community. In the Museum of Abbey is a 9th century St. Martin's cross, the best preserved Celtic cross in the British Isles. Not far from the abbey are the remains of a nunnery or convent. It is the most complete ruin of a convent in Scotland. Why is Iona so different? There are very few vehicles by law, there are no daily newspapers, and very few accommodations even have a television. My sense is that without the noise and outside bombardment of the world events, peace comes easily. The Celtic faith refers to the Bible as the little book and all of nature as the big book. It is easy to spend hours every day in the big book, walking along the shores, trekking the island from side to side and top to bottom, climbing the high hill, and simply being. The Abbey bell calls the hours of worship. All are welcome. The services, about 40 minutes in length, with singing and reading and a short reflection. There is a saying that if you go to Iona once, you will go 3 times. May it be so. Sorry, got an itch. Okay. And Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroschein. God's Response to Crisis Times, Part 1. One of the questions ministers are often asked begins like this. If there is a God, then why? You can complete the sentence however you wish. The question you come up with is probably one that people like me have heard several times. Today's question builds on that one. I will not preface it with the words, if there is a God, because I know there is. What I want to offer this week is a partial answer to the question, how does this God respond to times of national or personal crisis? You and I will never go through life problem-free. Murphy's Law, whatever can go wrong will go wrong, is no respecter of persons. Some of the problems we face can easily be fixed. Some may require major repairs to our homes, vehicles, appliances, electronics, or in extreme cases, ourselves, as in necessary surgery. Most of these problems are random events that could have happened to others, but happened to us. However, if we look back over the weeks or months preceding a specific problem, we might be able to link it to something we said or did, which raises the question, if there is a God, why didn't he intervene and stop these things from happening? Well, God could have intervened. The Bible, especially the Old Testament, contains several accounts of when he did so. Take, for example, the story of a prophet named Jonah. God called him to go to the city of Nineveh and warn them that unless they turned from their sins, God would punish them severely. That was the last thing Jonah wanted to hear. So he went down to the coast, found a ship sailing west to Spain. Nineveh was east from where he was when God called him, and set sail. He was determined to get as far from God as fast as he could. Could God have stopped Jonah? Yes. But like you and me, Jonah had free will. He had the right to choose how he would respond to God's commands. So do we. We can let the righteous standards for living found in the Bible determine how we think, speak, and live. Or we can choose to go our own way, do our own thing, make our own rules, and live by them for as long as we choose to do so. God would not violate Jonah's right to choose, and he won't violate ours either. But neither will he shield us from the legitimate consequences of the choices we make. In Jonah's case, the ship he was on became the target of a Mediterranean storm. The mariners aboard the ship tried everything they could to keep the ship afloat, all to no avail. Finally, they did something that hardened mariners rarely did. They prayed to their gods and told all aboard the boat, including Jonah, to do the same. This was a turning point in this story for Jonah and for all of those on board the ship. These were the consequences of Jonah's disobedience. God used them to get Jonah's attention and force him to acknowledge his sins and seek God's forgiveness. One of the best things God can do, something he is very good at, is to allow us to experience the consequences of our acts. These experiences will create in us a hunger for God that cannot be created any other way. Next week, we will continue our study of the story of Jonah and learn more about God's response to the crises we face. And the Gladstone Cattle Market Report by Blaine Houston. The market was still really strong this week on all types of classes. Things are slowly starting to slow down for the summer season, but we ended up with another good run this week. Seen lots of butcher cattle this week. Plainer type cattle are still seeing discounts. We sold 691 head of cattle through the ring in Gladstone, Manitoba yesterday, sorry. Cows and bulls sold with soaring demand. Feeding type cows and heiferettes are still selling strong. High-yielding cows still traded from 210 to 2.26. Feeding type cows are ranging from 220 to 248. Bulls traded stronger, 245 to 265. Some highlights from the sale: 400-pound black steers traded for $6.89. A group of crossbred steers weighed 642 and brought 531. 700-pound black and red steers brought $5.12, which is $3,584 a head. On the heifer side of things, red exotic heifers weighed 504 and traded for 5.55. A set of tan heifers weighed 619 and made 4.8. A set of replacement quality Charlet heifers weighed 804 pounds and cashed in at $4.16 a pound. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how the market's played out. Cattle producers, we only have 2 sales left before the summer break. The next sales are June 24th and July 8th. If you have cattle to market, please pre-book and let us do our best to market your livestock. And out of Helen's kitchen. All my life, meals were a time when family members gathered around a table to eat and discuss the events of the day. Of course, there were no cell phones, to interrupt our meal times. When was the last time you sat down with your family at the table and shared food and conversation without TV, tablets, or cell phones? For many families, it's not a usual practice, with after-school activities, late meetings at work, and long commutes. One study showed that children eating dinner as a family do better at school, have stronger family relationships, better social skills, and are all around happier. Dinner time is a breather from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Keep mealtime conversations positive. Ask children about their day. An example may be in the best and worst thing that happened to you today. Share a story or a joke. Good conversation promotes connection in a safe, loving environment. This works well on spouses too. Conversation, both talking and listening, can be more important than what you actually eat. And she's included a couple of recipes: chicken with mushrooms and strawberry shortbread dessert. And it's all a personal journey worth taking. A man and his horse travel through Neepawa on the Trans-Canada Trail on special excursion by Owen Devereaux, and pictured is René Legal and his horse Street. There are times in this workaday world where we all get a little bogged down and forget to appreciate the little things. We become blind to the beauty of nature that surrounds us and to the gift of time that is not promised to anyone. For the most part, we all take tomorrow a little bit for granted. I know I have, and I'm sure if you are being honest with yourself, you'll admit that you have as well. René Legal has chosen to stop taking those types of moments for granted and start living in them, and he recently chose Neepawa as that moment's starting point. On Saturday, June 7th, Legal, his horse Street, began a trek down the Trans-Canada Trail. The duo, along with René Bernay, who was following close behind with the truck and horse trailer, began on a section of the Trans-Canada Trail slightly east of the No. 5 highway, with plans to venture further northwest. For Legal, the reason for the journey is really quite simple. This trek is a personal challenge for me and my trusting partner Street, my horse, explained Legal. So, starting from Neepawa makes sense, and we look forward to meeting people along the way. We plan on stopping in Franklin, Bethany, Clanwilliam, and Erickson, and maybe on to Sandy Lake. Well, René currently calls Brandon home. His roots began close by, as he was born and raised on a small farm near St. Rose-de-Lac. This is an area he is familiar with from his youth, and he is reconnecting with now that he has grown and lived and experienced life beyond its boundaries. As for what others may take from learning of the adventure, Legal simply hopes that some form of personal inspiration strikes you, in whatever form it may take. I'm just hoping to gain an appreciation on how lucky we are living in a free country and being able to see the beauty of this province we live in. Also, to inspire others who are younger or older than me, to push your boundaries, to live every moment. Words to live by, Renee. Good luck and Godspeed. And Motorcycle Mania. There's a few pictures here. Kinsman Courts 1 and 2 were abuzz on June 4th as members of the Westman motorcycle enthusiasts took a cruise to Neepawa to participate in a Sami Strong barbecue. Over 500 bikes of all different types were on site, including more than 30 riders from Brandon who made the trip. Patrons were served a barbecue lunch and were encouraged to donate. A post on Facebook confirmed that $682 was raised for Sami. Good for them. And a new full-year grade 9 math course coming to Manitoba by 2027 by Joshua Jackson. Earlier in May, the Manitoba government announced it was introducing a compulsory math curriculum for grade 9 students. The course will teach topics that include financial literacy to help improve math scores and better prepare students for advanced math courses and adulthood. The renewed grade 9 math compulsory course will replace the current one that includes an optional transitional math course. Financial literacy elements will be incorporated and throughout the current curriculum. Beautiful Plains School Division Superintendent Jason Young said students within the school division have been learning full-year grade 9 math for several years, so that doesn't require a big shift for them. As part of the grade 9 math renewal, financial literacy is something that teachers feel is an important component for our students' future, he said. Although we embed these topics into our current math curriculums, we are anticipating this is to benefit all of our students. The new program will be piloted in select schools during the 2026 school year, with full implementation throughout the province, expected in September of 2027. When the department invites nominations from our school division, any teachers who are interested in piloting will have their name put forward to Manitoba Education for the pilot, said Young. When asked if the addition of this new course would help address specific challenges or gaps that exist in division schools' math performance or engagement, Young noted challenges and gaps will always exist in our society. Our teachers work incredibly hard to support students and their families through the school journey with resources, high-leverage teaching strategies, and trying their best to address all of the diverse needs that exist within a school system, he said. The government press release noted extending the math class to a full-year course gives all Manitoba learners increased contact time with their teacher, which is an excellent way to strengthen numeracy skills. Embedding financial literacy in the curriculum boosts engagement with relevant content and prepares every student to make informed financial decisions. Building this foundation is the same reason that we have been doing full-year grade 9 math for the last number of years, said Young. We believe our students need the time to work through these challenging outcomes to build resilience, learn how to deal with difficult tasks in these subject areas, and get help when their struggles create too much frustration. The BPSD superintendent noted that they don't see much trouble with integrating the new math course. He said Manitoba Education has also identified other courses that will be going through a revamp, like grade 5 to 12 applied arts renewal, a K-11 social studies students curriculum renewal, a K-12 English language arts curriculum renewal, and a K-12 new science curriculum. We are anticipating some unique challenges that we will face with the new curriculum rollout. As with any change we are presented with, our staff work together to face things head-on and put the needs of our students at the forefront. Our teachers will continue to learn and lean on each other as we build new knowledge and skills for our students' success. And the United Church of Canada Centennial celebrated in Neepawa and Minnedosa by Owen Devereaux. Parishioners for the United Church of Canada, both locally and nationally, assembled on Sunday, June 8th to honor and celebrate 100 years. Festivities and acknowledgements were held in both Neepawa and Minnedosa to commemorate the centennial of the largest Protestant denomination in Canada. The United Church of Canada was inaugurated on June 10, 1925 in Toronto with the union of the Methodist, Congregational Union, and 70% of the Presbyterian churches of Canada. The United Church has had many historic firsts, including 1936, the first woman ordained. 1988, declare all persons regardless of sexual orientation who profess faith to Jesus Christ are welcome to be members and are eligible for ordained ministry. 1992, the first First Nations moderator of the United Church enshrined. In total, over 1 million people in about 2,500 congregations are a part of history of the United Church, is closely entwined with the history of Canada itself. In Minnedosa, the Methodist and Presbyterian congregations united. In Neepawa, the congregation of the Neepawa United Church and St. James Anglican Church of Neepawa joined together in 2020 to form Neepawa United Anglican Shared Ministry, or NUASM. And there are some pictures from the churches in Neepawa and Minnedosa, and a picture of people celebrating in Minnedosa. A brunch celebration was hosted. And going on to the fair, amazing results from community teamwork. Neepawa District Chamber shares impression of the 2025 fair by Casper Waran. The 2025 Neepawa District Chamber Fair went over well last month. While the Chamber wasn't able to receive numbers from the Midway Company, Select Shows, prior to the print deadline for this week's paper, Chamber President Ali Petretka noted that this year's event was incredible. Our personal impressions were that the fair was very well attended and, based on all the smiles, everybody enjoyed themselves, said Petretka. It goes to show the amazing results that can be achieved when community members work together. This was, in part, courtesy of the sunny weather that graced each day of the fair, a welcome change from last year's snow, which affected a variety of events and attractions. The beautiful weather allowed all of our events to run as planned. We also had an impressive response from volunteers willing to help keep the fair running smoothly and safely, said Petretka. The annual fair is the Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce's largest fundraiser. As such, the attendance exhibited and the community collaboration for the event is well appreciated. The fair's wonderful attendance will help us support our chamber members throughout the rest of the year through advocacy, education, and networking events, Petretka explained. Thanks is extended by the Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors to all who helped make the 2025 event a success. And nearly a century of impact. Gladstone Legion number 110 celebrates enduring legacy. And pictured MP Dan Mazur hands longtime Gladstone Legion member Nick Beavington and the Gladstone Legion 110 board a certificate of recognition for celebrating the 50th anniversary of their clubhouse and the 90th anniversary of the Legion forming in Gladstone, by Joshua Jackson. Saturday, June 7th, marked a thrilling milestone for the town of Gladstone as the Royal Canadian Legion surpassed 2 milestones, its 90th anniversary of forming as a group and the 50th anniversary of its clubhouse. The Gladstone Legion 110 hosted a day of festivities, including a light lunch, entertainment, a ceremony, cake, and activities. Many residents came to celebrate the town's gathering place and its longevity. Guests of honor included Riding Mountain MP Dan Mazur, Agassiz MLA Jody Byram, the Royal Canadian Legion Manitoba and Northwest Ontario Command Vice President Gail Conrad Davey, Joan Wright, and District 2 Commander Chris Flood. Also on hand was Westlake Gladstone Mayor Daryl Shipman, who is also a member of the Legion. The earliest minutes found regarding the Gladstone Legion were dated back to a meeting of the War Veterans Association on October 18, 1935. The association became a Canadian Legion branch of the British Empire Service League in 1938, and the Legion Auxiliary came to life in 1939. In 1946, the Legion used the Masonic Hall for its meetings and paid $3 a month for rent. The group held discussions to purchase a building, and a committee was appointed. The Legion selected a building and moved it. Then the Legion Memorial Hall opened on October 11, 1948. In 1972, members approached the Bank of Montreal and the Austin Credit Union about a loan for a new club room. The official opening of the new Legion club room was on April 10, 1975. The mortgage burning for the club room took place in 1982, 7 years after its opening. Much of the Legion's success over the years can be attributed to the hard work of the Legion Auxiliary. The celebration of the Gladstone Legion's anniversary was also an opportunity to roll out the red carpet. Manitoba's Lieutenant Governor, the Honourable Anita R. Neville, came to our town for a tour and to deliver marks at the Legion. Stops on the tour included the 1877 Northwest Territory boundary marker, the Gladstone Memorial Cenotaph, and the United Church, where the Governor General made a donation to the food cupboard and participated in a quilting meeting, among other stops. During the ceremony, Neville said it was a special pleasure to celebrate your 50th anniversary here in Gladstone. For 5 decades, the Gladstone Legion has been a place to bring people together to support veterans, to foster the spirit of remembrance, and to strengthen both community and youth services and projects, said Lieutenant Governor. The Legion is an important institution across Canada, with a network of over 1,200 branches and 275,000 members. It's close to the hearts of many Manitobans. The Royal Canadian Legion was born in Winnipeg 100 years ago to support veterans of the First World War. For a century, the Legion has helped to keep the sacrifices and contributions of veterans fresh in Canadian minds. The Lieutenant Governor said that Saturday was a great opportunity to get to know the town and see pieces of Manitoba's history. I truly appreciate the hospitality shown to me and the organizing work of all those who made this trip to Gladstone quite memorable, she said. As the Gladstone Legion enters its second half-century, I wish you many more years of friendship, service, and memories to all who have helped to keep the Legion a vital part of Gladstone, and to all those who keep Gladstone a vital part of Manitoba. To celebrate the momentous occasion, many speakers took the time to talk about the significance of the institution and its value within the town of Gladstone. The Gladstone High School Band was on hand to play the national anthem, God Save the King, and Dan Mazer and Jody Byram presented the Gladstone Legion with plaques and certificates to mark the occasion. Northwest Ontario Command Vice President Gail Conrad reminded the crowd that one day before, on June 6th, was the anniversary of D-Day, where Canadian soldiers, sailors, and airmen, along with the Allied forces, courageously participated in the invasion, adding this was only one example of brave Canadians preserving freedom all over the world. And that work continues today. The Royal Canadian Legion is the keeper of remembrance in Canada. Legion branches, like Gladstone Branch 110, have been upholding the importance of remembering our veterans and ensuring Canada never forgets, she said. It is my great pleasure to congratulate Gladstone Legion Branch 110 on 90 years of service to veterans, their families, and the community. The Royal Canadian Legion turns 100 in 2026, and your branch is part of this great organization from almost the beginning. In his speech, MP Dan Mazer said the Legion should be a great source of pride for your veterans, members, and community. He noted the Gladstone Legion serves many purposes, from a community center to a voting station, a facility for seniors' activities, birthdays, anniversaries, and weddings, as well as a place of social gathering. Despite this, it still makes sure veterans are honored and remembered for their service. It offers a place to gather with friends, new and old, to share the good times and the bad. None of the Legion's legacy would not have been possible without the volunteers and community members. Thank you for all you do for the community and our country. Thanks to your vision, the Gladstone Legion has evolved for the last 90 years, and it has thrived. The Gladstone Legion has positively impacted the community of Gladstone by making donations to the local food pantry, Ball Diamonds, and the school, taking an active part in the community through the Gladstone Legion Aquatic Center, and providing bursaries and grants for high school students. As the MLA for the region, Jody Byram has had the opportunity to attend many events at the Legion, noting each occasion held lively and full of laughter, bringing people together from around the area and providing a sense of community. It is the collective effort of the Gladstone community that makes these milestone celebrations possible. Great job to everyone involved over the years for pulling off those events and continuing to do so like we have here today. And a safe, fun, and inspiring place to play in Plumas. The official ribbon cutting event was held to commemorate a new play structure by Owen Devereaux. While the sky overhead was a little bit gloomy, the spirits of everyone in attendance for the celebration of Plumas Elementary School's brand new play structure were nothing but sunny. A large crowd of parents, teachers, and of course children were on hand for the Monday, June 9th for the formal ribbon cutting and barbecue. While the structure itself was completed early last winter, this was the first time the community has been able to come together and celebrate the project's completion. Patty Thompson, a past PAC president at Plumas Elementary School, served as the master of ceremony for the festivities. To go along with the ribbon cutting, there was also an acknowledgement of all the organizations and levels of government who assisted in making the build of the just over $100,000 structure a reality. Plaques of recognition were handed out to about a dozen different supporters, including the province of Manitoba and the RM of Westlake Gladstone. Just before the ceremony, the Banner and Press was able to speak with Thompson about the project, which was almost 6 years in the making. 2019 was the year we started because we learned that the old play structure was soon going to reach its end, and we didn't want to get to the point where there was nothing there for the kids, explained Thompson. Of course, 2020 was a bit of a hiccup for us. Efforts were slowed down, but we still moved forward with the fundraising and grant applications. It was a lot of time and a lot of effort locally to reach this point, but we made it. Thompson said everyone involved should be very proud of what was accomplished, as they have contributed to something that is a positive for the community. The kids love it. Seeing them out there, it's just been great. This was a community effort. Generations of people helping through donations or through volunteering their time, helping build. A lot of people should feel proud of what has been accomplished. This is a safe, fun, and inspiring place to play. A huge supporter of the play structure was the province through its Building Sustainability Community Grant. Our local member of Legislature Assembly, Jody Byram, was on hand representing the province and commended the community for coming together as they did to achieve this goal. She added the province was glad to be able to assist. Another supporter of the project was the municipality of Westlake Gladstone. Mayor Daryl Shipman commended everyone involved for their efforts, adding that it's fantastic to see. It's so important that the children have something that safe to play on. The community came together. There was great support from the parents, families, businesses. It's just great. Some of the other notable support came from the Big Grass Community Foundation, as well as Plumas Legion number 189, High Life Foods, and the Topigs Norsven. And pictured is, well, the play structure, a plaque thanking all of the donors, and the official ribbon cutting. And also, sheer fun at Blue Hills Fiber Festival. Avid knitters, crafters, and yarnaholics had the chance to gather together and interact with local yarn producers from across Manitoba and the prairies at the Blue Hills Fiber Festival in Carberry on June 7th. Artists had the chance to purchase yarn, textiles, supplies, and completed projects. During the festival, a series of workshops were hosted, including the basics of drop spinning using a drop spindle, a felting workshop where participants created a one-of-a-kind sheep, and free mill tours of the Austin Woolen Mill. Looks like it was a good time. And we're moving on to sports. Plumas Pirates and Neepawa Cubs split the series by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Cubs and the Plumas Pirates recently played a pair of games against one another in the Santa Clara Baseball League. The first of those two matchups was on Wednesday, June 4th in Neepawa, and saw the Cubs beat Best Plumas 10-5. A 7-run rally in the bottom of the 6th inning powered Neepawa to a victory. Lincoln Murray knocked in 3 RBI to help the Cubs, while pitcher Zach Platt picked up the win. These same two clubs paired up again on Friday, June 6th in Plumas. This game was much more one-sided as the Pirates dominated 10-2. Carter Shetler was 3 for 4 at bat for Plumas with 4 RBI. Zach Yando also contributed with a pair of hits and 3 stolen bases. Riley McBridge had the win, pitching 6 innings for the Pirates, allowing just 2 hits while collecting 8 strikeouts. The series split dropped Plumas' regular season to 4-1-1, while Neepawa stand at 2-4-0. And Carberry defeats Portage. The Carberry Royals have ruined Portage's perfect start to the season, besting the Padres 12-7. The Royals scored a combined 11 runs in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings of their game on June 6th and cruised to victory from there. Cam Rose stood out for Carberry as he went 2 for 3 with a home run. Torrey Scott, 3 for 4 at bat, 3 RBI, and Eric Truscott, 3 for 3, were also contributors for Carberry. Truscott also earned the win on the mound, while Rose came in the final inning for the save. In a game played 2 days earlier in Portage La Prairie, the Padres won 15-2. And Minnedosa versus Austin. Alex Klassen had himself a night on the mound for the Austin A's on Wednesday, June 4th, both on the mound and on the plate. On this night, Klassen threw a complete game, 4-hitter, and an even more impressive 14 strikeouts. If that wasn't enough, he also had a 3-run homer in the top of the 7th, which gave the A's a 4-3 win. The Mavericks would bounce back, however, on June 6th in Minnedosa, besting Austin 10-2. Mavs pitcher Devin Ford struck out 10, while Andrew Richards doubled and scored 2 runs. The Mavericks have improved their record on the year to 2-3-1, while the A's fell to 2-5-0. And a pair of NACI alum preparing for the World University Games. Laura Denbo and Dax Turner to compete in Germany, and they are pictured here. A pair of track and field athletes whose roots in the sport began right here in Neepawa are preparing for the FISU World University Games. Laura Denbo and Dax Turner, who are currently members of the University of Manitoba Bison's track team, have been selected to compete at the 2025 competition, which will take place in Germany next month. The FISU Summer World University Games are staged every 2 years and is the largest global multi-sports event for student athletes in the world. Laura Denbo earned her place at the World Games as a back-to-back national champion for Manitoba in the high jump. The Neepawa native earned national gold in 2024 by setting a U Sports personal best of 1.78 meters. She then successfully defended her title this past year in Windsor. Denbo was also a Canadian national champion in high jump at the U16 and U18 levels and a silver medalist in triple jump at the U18 Nationals. Dax Turner, meanwhile, is the U of M's record holder in the triple jump and has never lost at a Canada West Championships in 4 seasons as a Bison. Turner broke the triple jump school record in 2024 with a leap of 15.82 meters. He also earned a national silver at this year's past national championship. Turner had another standout performance at last summer's Olympic trials, earning silver in the triple jump with a leap of 16.14 meters, which set a new provincial record. Overall, Turner holds the U18, U20, and senior outdoor triple jump records in Manitoba, and he also holds the U18 and U20 indoor records. Both these athletes began their competitive careers as members of the NACI Tigers track and field team. The Banner and Press congratulate both Denbo and Turner on their selection to the Games and wish them luck as they prepare for Germany. And the Neepawa Titans give back to the Yellowhead Center. And pictured here, left to right, Titans head coach Ken Pearson, Neepawa Titans Ag Expo coordinator Matt Lowry, YHC president Wayne Jacobson, and director of operations Crystal Ranney. The Neepawa Titans are giving back $3,114 to the Yellowhead Center after the successful annual ag auction. The hockey club pledged to give back a portion of their sales to make sure the center gets some well-needed repairs. And a Titans graduate commits to the Adrian Bulldogs. And pictured Neepawa Titans forward Carter McLeod is committed with the Adrian Bulldogs by Joshua Jackson. Another member of the 24-25 Neepawa Titans will be taking their talents down south as they head off for university. Titans forward Carter McLeod will be heading down to Adrian, Michigan, as he is committed to the Adrian Bulldogs of the American Collegiate Hockey Association. Adrian College offers NCAA hockey as well as ACHA hockey for Divisions 1, 2, and 3. McLeod, born in 2004, has suited up in over 137 games for the Titans, starting back in the 22-23 season. During his run as a Titan, the forward logged 34 goals and 53 assists for a total of 87 points, while racking up 67 penalty minutes. McLeod would also suit up for the 11 playoff games with the Titans, adding 5 goals and 1 assist, including 2 power play goals. The Neepawa Banner and Press wish Carter the best in his future endeavors. And the MJHL home opener set. The Titans signed to by Joshua Jackson. Fun fact, if you read this on the day of the paper is released, the Neepawa Titans have only 99 days until they begin their Manitoba Junior Hockey League season. The MJHL announced their slate of home openers this week, with Neepawa kicking off the season with a home-and-home series against the Portage Terriers. The Titans will play host on Saturday, September 20th, before they head down Highway 16 next day to take on the Dogs. Other home openers include the Verdant Oil Capitals and Waiwasi-Kappa Wolverines in a home-and-home series on September 19th and 20th. The newly named Winnipeg Monarchs kick off their season with a home-and-home against the Selkirk Steelers, and the defending MJHL Turnbull Cup champions Norman and Blizzard kick off their campaign on October 3rd against the Steelers. With the schedule slowly being unveiled, the Titans are stocking their prospect cupboard ahead of the 25-26 season. The club has announced that they have signed defenseman Jake Brown for the 2025-26 season. Brown, who hails from Flin Flon, played for the U18 AAA Norman North Stars. I am very excited to become part of the Neepawa Titan organization and community this upcoming season. I can't wait to play in front of the fans and show my strong defensive and physical abilities, said the newly signed athlete in a press release. In the 2024-2025 season, the North Stars had 13 wins, 32 losses, 3 overtime losses, and a shootout win. Brown contributed 1 goal and 5 assists during 46 games. Neepawa Titans senior scout Chris Menard highlighted what skills the athlete will bring to the table. Standing at 6'3" and 195 pounds, Jake is a left-handed defenseman who will make it tough for opposing players. He's an exceptional teammate and student who always looks to put their work into getting better every day, said Menard. The team then announced that they have also signed defenseman Jack Heffron. The 19-year-old Albertan joins the Titans after playing for the Columbia Valley Rockettes out of the Kootenay International Junior Hockey League. The 6'5", 200-pound athlete is described as a physical and mobile defender who had 2 goals and 16 assists along with 104 penalty minutes in 35 regular season games. Heffron amassed 4 assists in 9 playoff games along with 22 penalty minutes. I am very excited and grateful to have the opportunity to be part of the Titans organization this season. I am looking forward to making an impact on and off the ice, said Heffron via a press release. Neepawa Titans head coach Ken Pearson said he's content with the addition so far during the off-season and describes what Heffron brings to the table. Jack will add some size and depth to our D-core. His ability to move the puck is something that really attracted us to him. And just a note that the annual general meeting of the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op is Tuesday, June 17th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at Arts Forward. And the annual general meeting of the Neepawa Titans is Tuesday, July 29th, 7 p.m. at the back room of the library. And let's see what else we have here. And kits for kids distributed in Plumas and Langruth. Jody Byram, the MLA for the District of Agassiz, delivered backpack full of school supplies to the principals of Plumas and Langruth Elementary School on Monday, June 9th. The special deliveries were part of a national campaign organized by TELUS. The Kits for Kids project provides 20,000 youth across Canada with essential school supplies. Each kit includes an unmarked backpack, lined paper, 2 packages of exercise books, a pencil case, 1 12-pack of colored pencils, HB pencils, pens, erasers, and a ruler. And Maryland crew honored with Award of Distinction. Neepawa Economic Development Officer Marilyn Crew was recognized for her hard work within the town of Neepawa with the Economic Development Association of Manitoba's, EDAM, Award of Distinction. EDAM is an independent, non-profit, incorporated association of professionals engaged in economic development in Manitoba that connects, educates, and informs various practitioners working in the field of economic development. The Award of Distinction is given to an economic development professional whose significant contribution and exceptional best practices have cultivated community economic development in Manitoba. The awards were celebrated at a ceremony in Steinbach on June 5th as part of the EDAM's 2025 forum, where economic developers from across the province gathered to connect, learn, and share ideas to help build stronger, more vibrant communities. Crew has served as the town's economic development officer since 2014 and has an active role within our community. The Neepawa Banner and Press will have the full story in an upcoming issue. And Looking Back by Casper Werhan. And 125 years ago, 1900, Arden, H. Gray finished plastering George Wilson's house on Saturday. A boxcar loaded with coal was run off the track at the CPR yards here Monday. It was replaced on the rails again after much difficulty. The Register has now in stock the finest line of ladies and gents calling cards ever brought to Neepawa, and we can furnish them very neatly printed at a low rate. Call and order your cards from this stock. The trading stamp cash system has been inaugurated in Neepawa during the past week, and customers who pay cash will be the gainers to a considerable extent. The firms who have adopted the system are J. Brown and Company, B.R. Hamilton and Company, A. Young and Company, and Hamilton Brothers, and the idea will undoubtedly be taken up by others at an earlier date. The Verdun Baseball Club will hold their second annual tournament on Monday and Tuesday, June 18th and 19th, for which $800 in prizes are offered. A petition signed by nearly 150 ratepayers of the town was presented to council on Friday night, asking the body to take steps for more stringent carrying out of the local option law. A cricket club was organized here Monday night with membership of nearly 30. Mr. Joseph McEwen purchased the house and property of Mrs. E. Jackson on the North End on Monday. Mrs. Jackson has ceased housekeeping and left on Tuesday for Carberry, where she'll visit for some time with her son, Jonathan Jackson of that place. 100 years ago, 1925, McCreary. We would ask McCreary Council to please put up posters concerning bylaws so the public may read and get wise. The Clean Up, Paint Up campaign in Neepawa is still ongoing. Mrs. Worrell has sold her residence on 2nd Avenue to William Graham, who intends to occupy it this fall. In keeping with the coming into existence on June 10th of the United Church of Canada, what was formerly known as Methodist Church here will now become known as the United Church. 75 years ago, and that is pictured here, John Simpson celebrated his 94th birthday in 1950 and was believed to be the oldest resident at that time. He was an undertaker, funeral director, and furniture salesman. And John Simpson, pioneer of Neepawa, who is believed to be the town's oldest resident, will mark his 94th birthday anniversary Friday, June 16th. Resident of Manitoba for 71 years, Mr. Simpson was born in Holton County, Ontario, a son of Robert and Ann Hughes Simpson. He came to Neepawa in 1895 and took over the furniture business of John Boyd. Mr. Simpson was one of the town's first undertakers and funeral directors. 50 years ago, 1975, Eden, a delegation of more than 100 angry parents, teachers, and students, met at Eden with members of the Beautiful Plains School Division Board and the division administration to protest the release of one of the division's teachers, Margaret Lowry, from her position at J.M. Young School, Eden. Congratulations, Franklin. Congratulations, 3 girls from the district who did so well at their track meet last Friday. Sharon Fraser with 5 firsts, Cathy Kasprick with 3 seconds and 1/3, and Susan Nicholson with 1 first and 2 seconds and 2/3. The girls will compete at Carberry in the division meet next Friday. Brookdale. Sympathy of the district is extended to Mr. and Mrs. Louis Vinthers and family in the passing of her brother, the late Gordon Owen of Stevenson, BC, June 5th. Gordy will be well remembered in the district as he owned and operated cafe and post office in the late 1940s and early 1950s. McCreary, the Crane River Pony Association held their pony races at the McCreary Track Sunday afternoon, June 8th. Gladstone. Ramona Garbold of Gladstone has been awarded a Millennium Excellence Award from the Canada Millennium Scholarship Foundation. Gladstone, first vice president, Hilda Snell, showed the Legion Auxiliary members a design of the floor plan of the suggested plan for a kitchen area of the proposed community complex. Plumas, Victor Stinson had the misfortune of losing 175 baby chicks on Sunday morning when his brooder house caught on fire. Victor and family were able to put out the fire, but before it spread to other buildings. 3 Western Manitoba mothers have formed a watchdog group in response to the ongoing shortage of doctors in the Westman area. The mothers, Jennifer Lamb, Alexandra Pinella Gomez, and Kelly Saunders, first blew the whistle last October when the area's pediatricians went down from 4 to 2, leaving Brandon, and the surrounding area with only 1 full-time and 1 part-time pediatrician. Justin Miller of Neepawa and Megan Sapinski of Portage are the top cowboy and cowgirl in the Manitoba High School Rodeo Association standings. And it's June, and June means graduation. And the Neepawa Press has a whole section. Congratulations, graduates. This year's ceremonies. Minnedosa Collegiate, Friday, June 20th at 10 a.m. at the Minnedosa Community Conference Center. William Morton Collegiate Institute, Wednesday, June 25th at 1:30 p.m. at the William Morton Collegiate Institute. Glenella School, Friday, June 20th at 5 p.m. in the Glenella School Gymnasium. Alonza School, Saturday, June 21st at 2 p.m. in the Alonza School Gymnasium. McCreary School, Saturday, June 21st at 3 p.m. in the McCreary Community Hall. Erickson Collegiate, Monday, June 23rd at 2 p.m., Erickson Collegiate. Neepawa Area Collegiate, Tuesday, June 24th at 1:30 p.m. at the Yellowhead Center. Carberry Collegiate, Tuesday, June 24th at 4:30 p.m. at the Carberry Collegiate. And the École Jour de Plaine, Friday, June 20th at 5 p.m. at the Notre Dame de Victoire Roman Catholic Church. And I'm not going to read all the names, but I will mention the schools in here. And please note that all local businesses have put so many ads of congratulation into the paper, and I hope you'll notice them and acknowledge them. So, Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute. We have 1 page, 2 page, and the pages, and 3 pages, and 4 pages. There's an awful lot of grads in Neepawa. 5 pages and 6 pages, and again, just lots of cards of congratulations to the grads. 7.5 pages, and they keep on going. And another school, École Jour de Plaine, has a page here, and McCreary School shows its graduates. Minnedosa Collegiate, they've got a couple of pages here of grads. And Carberry Collegiate has another couple of pages. Glenella School has 3 grads. Erickson Collegiate, William Morton Collegiate, and more from William Morton Collegiate. Alonza School, Prairie Sky Homeschool Group, St. Rose School, and also acknowledgement of names from Riverbend Colony School, Fairway Colony School, Parkview Colony School, and Willerton School. And just note, Carberry Fair's coming in July. It's getting close. And that continues the reading of, or finishes the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, June 13th, 2025. I hope you enjoyed it.